Princess Mira of Zithera walked through the golden halls of her palace. Her steps echoed softly against the polished floors. The walls were decorated with images of great leaders, inventors, and warriors from Zethera's long history. Every painting and sculpture reminded her of her people's power and intelligence. Yet in her mind, there was always one story she could not believe: the stories of human warriors. Since she was a child, her teachers and elders spoke of humans from a faraway planet. They said humans were brave, clever, and fearless. They could defeat enemies without advanced weapons or complex technology. They could survive impossible situations and inspire entire armies. But Mira had always thought these were only myths. Humans sounded like fairy tales, not real fighters. She stopped by a large window and looked at the floating city outside. The air shimmered with energy shields that protected the city from storms and attacks. Ships flew in and out, carrying goods, officials, and soldiers. Zithera was strong. With technology like theirs, they could defend against any enemy. What could a human possibly do that their machines could not? "Your Highness," a voice said, breaking her thoughts. It was her chief advisor, Loran. "The council awaits your presence. There is urgent news from the border scouts." Mira turned. "I will be there in a moment," she replied, her voice calm but firm. She walked to the council chamber, her robe flowing behind her. Inside, the room was filled with her generals, scientists, and advisors. Holographic displays floated in the air, showing maps of Zithera and the surrounding star systems. "Princess," said General Theron, the head of the military, "our scouts have reported unusual activity near the western border. They spotted a spacecraft landing. Its design is unlike any we have seen before." Mira raised an eyebrow. "Unlike any we have seen? Could it be another Krithan scout?" Theron shook his head. "No, Your Highness. This ship is small. It carries only one occupant. And the scout reported that the occupant is a human warrior." Mira's eyes widened. "A human? Are you certain?" The council murmured among themselves. Humans were supposed to be rare in this sector of the galaxy. The stories of their warriors were almost legendary, but no one had seen one in generations. "Yes, Princess," said Loran. The scout observed a humanoid figure leaving the craft. "He appears to be armed, but his weapons are primitive compared to ours." Mira felt a mixture of curiosity and disbelief. Primitive weapons? How could someone like that survive in space, let alone fight against enemies like the Krethans? General Theron spoke firmly. "Your Highness, I recommend we capture him and study his abilities. If he is as skilled as the legends say, he could be dangerous, or he could be an ally." Mira thought for a moment. She had always relied on Zithera's technology and intelligence to protect her people. The idea that a single human could match their warriors seemed impossible. Yet she could not ignore the possibility. "I will meet him myself," Mira said at last. "If these stories are true, I need to see this human warrior with my own eyes." The council looked at her in surprise. Loran raised his hand slightly. "Princess, it is unusual for royalty to confront unknown warriors alone. It could be dangerous," Mira smiled gently. "I am aware, Loran, but I must know the truth. Humans are said to be clever and brave. I want to see if that is true or if it is only a story." The council agreed reluctantly. Preparations were made for Mira to travel to the landing site. She chose to go without heavy guards, taking only a small team of trusted advisors and 2 elite soldiers. She wanted to observe the human firsthand, not from a distance. The journey to the western border took only a few hours by high-speed flight. But Mira felt a strange sense of anticipation. Her heart beat faster than usual. She had never met a human before. She wondered what he would look like, how he would act, and whether the legends were true. When they arrived, the landing site was quiet. The spacecraft was small, sleek, and unlike anything built on Zithera. Its surface was scratched in places, as if it had traveled long distances through rough space. A single figure stood near the craft, looking around calmly. Mira stepped forward, her presence commanding attention. The human turned and looked at her. He was tall and strong, with sharp eyes that seemed to study everything. His clothing was simple, designed for mobility rather than style. In his hands he carried only basic weapons, but he held them with confidence. "You must be Princess Mira," the human said. His voice was calm but firm. "I am Ronan. I come in peace." Mira studied him closely. He was clearly skilled, but could a single human really be as the legends claimed? She decided to test him. I have heard stories about human warriors, she said. They say you are brave, clever, and strong. But stories are easy to make. Can you prove it? Ronan smiled slightly. I can. But I hope you understand that bravery is not just about fighting. It is about making the right choice even when it is difficult. Mira nodded. Very well. Let us see what you can do. She instructed her soldiers to set up training drones, small machines designed to test combat skills. The drones moved quickly, attacking in unpredictable patterns. Many of the alien soldiers struggled to keep up, but Ronan moved with remarkable speed and intelligence. He dodged, countered, and even used the environment to his advantage. He defeated the drones one by one, never once seeming surprised or confused. Mira's eyes widened. This human was different from anything she had imagined. He did not rely on advanced weapons or shields. He relied on his mind, his instincts, and his courage. After the exercises, she approached him. You are skilled, she said. But these were only machines. How would you fare against real enemies? Ronan looked at her calmly. Real enemies are dangerous. But the same rules apply. Stay aware, use your mind, protect others, and never give up. Humans survive because we adapt. Mira felt a mix of admiration and unease. She had always believed Zitherans were unmatched in skill and intelligence. Yet here was a human showing abilities that were hard to ignore. As they spoke, a distant alarm sounded. The sky above the border shimmered with incoming ships. The Krythons had arrived sooner than expected. Mira's guards tensed, preparing for battle. Ronan turned to her. It seems we do not have much time to talk. If you want to see how humans face danger, now is the moment, Mira nodded. She felt a thrill of anticipation and fear. For the first time, she wondered if her assumptions about humans had been wrong. She had always thought of them as tales, stories to entertain children. But now, standing beside one, she realized that the truth might be far greater than the legends. The Krython ships approached, their weapons glowing and ready. Mira's soldiers activated shields, and she raised her hand to coordinate defenses. But even as she gave orders, her eyes stayed on Ronan. Would he stand firm against real enemies? Could a human really make a difference in this battle? She did not have long to wait for answers. The first Krython ship descended, firing energy beams. Ronan moved quickly, using his small weapons to disable part of the ship's engines. His movements were precise, clever, and fearless. He did not hesitate or panic. Mira watched in awe. The human warrior was real, and he was extraordinary. For the first time, she felt that the stories she had doubted might actually be true. Humans were not just myths. They were brave, clever, and capable of facing even the most dangerous enemies. As the battle began, Mira realized that her world was about to change. The human warrior she had once thought of as a legend was now standing before her, ready to fight for Zithera. And in that moment, she understood that courage and skill could come from unexpected places, even from faraway worlds she had never truly believed in. The Krython ships hovered over the western plains of Zithera, their dark hulls cutting through the bright sky. Princess Mira stood at the edge of the landing zone, her eyes fixed on the approaching enemy. Her soldiers were tense, weapons at the ready. Energy shields flickered in the distance as the first beams of attack began to strike the ground. Beside her, Ronan moved with calm precision. He did not rush, yet every step he took was purposeful. He carried only basic weapons, but he held them as if they were extensions of his own body. Mira studied him carefully. He did not seem afraid, even though the Krythons outnumbered them and their weapons were far stronger than anything he possessed. Your Highness, said General Theron, his voice tight with concern. This is no time for observation. The Krythons are powerful and our soldiers need orders. Mira shook her head slightly. I am watching him, General. If these legends are true, I will see proof today. I need to see how a human fights in real conditions. Theron's eyes widened. He had always respected Mira, but he worried about her fascination with Ronan. Humans were mysterious, and trusting one could be dangerous. Yet he could not deny that she had a point. If Ronan truly possessed the skills of the legends, he might turn the tide of battle. The first Krython fighters landed, small but deadly ships that emitted sharp beams and deployed ground drones. Zitheran soldiers fired their weapons, but the attackers moved too quickly. Many drones struck the ground, creating explosions that threw soldiers off balance. The Krythons laughed in harsh mechanical tones. Ronan acted swiftly. Without hesitation, he ducked behind a small outcrop and used the terrain to his advantage. He picked up a fallen energy pulse launcher and aimed carefully. A single shot disabled one of the Crython drones, sending it spinning into the air before crashing to the ground. Mira's eyes widened. He did not rely on advanced targeting systems. He relied on observation, instinct, and precision. The stories had said humans were clever in ways no alien could predict. Watching Ronan, Mira realized that the stories had been only partially right. He was clever, yes, but also bold and fearless. The Crythons noticed him. 2 of their ships moved to intercept. Mira braced herself. If a human could defeat machines in training, could he stand against real attackers? Ronan remained calm. He grabbed a small portable shield from his pack and used it to block the first energy blast. Then he rolled forward, sliding under the second ship as it fired again. He came up behind the attackers and disabled them with a combination of precision strikes and clever traps. Mira's heart raced. She had always believed Zitherans were unmatched in skill and technology, yet here was a human, armed with nothing more than basic weapons and his own mind, standing against enemies that even some of their best soldiers struggled to fight. Impressive, she muttered under her breath. Lauren, who had followed her closely, whispered, "Princess, he is extraordinary. But this is only the beginning. The Crythons are more dangerous than these scouts." Ronan noticed Mira watching him and gave a small nod, almost as if acknowledging her presence. Then he turned back to the battle, moving with a speed and intelligence that seemed beyond human limits. He anticipated the enemy's actions, adapting quickly to new threats. Each movement was precise, deliberate, and effective. A group of Crython drones advanced toward a cluster of Zitharan soldiers who were pinned down by fire. Ronan sprinted forward. He grabbed 2 small energy grenades from his pack and threw them with perfect timing, creating a diversion. Then, using his simple weapon, he disabled the drones one by one, freeing the trapped soldiers. Mira felt a strange mix of admiration and disbelief. She had always thought humans were weak compared to Zitherans. She had imagined them as fragile beings surviving only by luck or cunning. Yet Ronan's actions were anything but lucky. He was strategic, fearless, and inspiring. General Theron finally spoke. "Princess, he is giving our soldiers confidence. They are fighting with renewed energy." Mira nodded. She realized the truth. Human courage was not just about fighting skill. It was about leadership, inspiration, and the ability to face danger without hesitation. Ronan's presence was changing the battlefield, not just through his actions, but through the effect he had on others. The Crythons regrouped and launched a more organized attack. Energy beams sliced through the air and more drones descended. Zitharan shields absorbed many strikes, but some soldiers were pushed back. Mira could feel the tension building around her. Ronan moved again. He scanned the battlefield quickly, analyzing the positions of the Crythons. Then, with calm efficiency, he directed a small group of Zitharan soldiers to flank the attackers. Using the terrain and timing, they created a trap. When the Crythons moved forward, they found themselves surrounded and disoriented. Mira could not hide her amazement. She had watched Zitharan soldiers plan complex strategies for hours. Yet Ronan had done in moments what took her generals long hours to coordinate, and he did it naturally without hesitation or doubt. One Crython ship managed to break through the defenses and headed straight for the city's shields. Ronan sprinted toward it, leaping onto the terrain in ways that seemed almost impossible. He used his agility to reach a position directly above the enemy craft. Then, with careful precision, he disabled its energy core using only his small weapon. The ship fell from the sky, crashing safely away from the city. Mira felt a rush of excitement. She had expected to test a story, to see a human at work, but she had not imagined witnessing such skill firsthand. The human warrior was not only real, but he was remarkable. The battle continued for hours. Zitharan soldiers, inspired by Ronan's bravery, fought harder than they ever had before. They moved with more confidence, using both their technology and new tactics that Ronan suggested on the battlefield. Mira observed everything, taking mental notes. She realized that technology alone was not enough. Courage, intelligence, and quick thinking were just as important. As the sun began to set, the Crythons finally retreated. Their ship sped away, leaving the plains littered with debris and disabled drones. Zitharan soldiers cheered, exhausted but victorious. Mira walked toward Ronan, her expression filled with admiration and curiosity. "You were incredible," she said. "I have seen many warriors in my life, but none like you. Humans are not what I expected." Ronan smiled. "Thank you, Princess. I fight not for glory, but to protect those who cannot protect themselves. That is what humans do. We adapt, we survive, and we protect. Mira nodded slowly. She felt a mixture of respect and humility. She had doubted humans her entire life, thinking them weak or mythical. Now she realized that humans possessed qualities that Zitherans had almost forgotten. The courage to face danger, the intelligence to adapt, and the determination to protect others at any cost. "Will you stay on Zithera?" she asked softly. "Your skills could help us prepare for future attacks." Ronan considered her words. "I came here by chance, but if my presence can help, I will stay. Together we can defend your planet." Mira smiled, feeling a spark of hope she had not felt before. For the first time, she believed that humans were more than just tales. They were real, and they could inspire even the most advanced civilizations. As night fell, the battlefield was quiet except for the sounds of Zitheran soldiers tending to their wounded and repairing equipment. Mira stood beside Ronan, watching the stars above. The Krythans were still out there waiting, but now she felt confident that her people were not alone. They had a human warrior by their side, and he had shown that bravery and intelligence could match even the most advanced technology. In that moment, Princess Mira understood something important. Legends were not always just stories. Sometimes they were warnings, lessons, or glimpses of reality, and the reality of humans was far greater than she had ever imagined. The sun rose over Zythera, casting light on the floating city and the plains beyond. Princess Mira stood at the balcony of the palace, looking toward the horizon. Smoke from the previous day's skirmish still rose in thin, curling trails. The Krythans were not gone. They would return, and this time they would come in greater numbers. Mira turned to Ronan, who was inspecting a group of Zytheran soldiers. "We must prepare," she said. "If the Krythans attack in full force, our people must be ready." Ronan nodded. "I have seen what your soldiers can do. They are strong and disciplined. But strength alone will not win this battle. We need strategy, coordination, and courage." General Theron frowned slightly. "Strategy and coordination? Princess, our plans are already complex. We have shields, drones, and automated defenses. What more is needed?" Mira shook her head. "Theron, I have seen what Ronan can do. Humans think differently. They adapt, they find weaknesses, and they inspire others. We need more than our machines. We need his way of thinking." Ronan stepped forward. "I will help train your soldiers. Together, we can prepare a defense that uses both your technology and our tactics." The soldiers gathered in the training grounds, a large area with natural terrain, hills, and sparse forests. Ronan moved among them, observing their skills and understanding their strengths. He did not criticize or scold. Instead, he explained, demonstrated, and encouraged. "Do not rely only on your shields," he said. "They protect, but they cannot think. Use your minds. Watch the enemy, predict their moves, and work together. Courage and timing are more important than power." The soldiers practiced under his guidance. Ronan showed them how to flank, use terrain to their advantage, and protect each other. He taught small units to move as one, covering each other's weaknesses. Slowly, the soldiers gained confidence. Even General Theron noticed the change. "They are learning faster than I expected," Theron admitted. "Perhaps humans have a skill we lack." Mira smiled. She felt hope growing. She had doubted humans her whole life, but now she understood the truth. Humans were clever, fearless, and adaptable. With Ronan's guidance, her people could face the Krythans without fear. By evening, the Krythan fleet appeared on the horizon. Hundreds of ships moved swiftly through the sky, their dark silhouettes cutting across the light of Zithera's sun. Energy beams shot forward, testing the city's shields. Panic began to ripple among the soldiers, but Mira remained calm. Ronan was already moving toward the front line, signaling soldiers to follow his lead. "Stay close to me," Ronan called. "Trust your instincts and follow my lead. We will protect the city together." The Krythans launched their first wave. Ships swooped low, firing at soldiers and buildings. Robots deployed on the ground, spreading chaos. The Zitheran soldiers responded with their shields and weapons, but many were caught off guard. Ronan acted quickly. He ran toward a group of soldiers under heavy fire. Using a small launcher, he created a temporary energy barrier to shield them. Then he directed them to a higher position behind a hill. From there, they could counterattack more effectively. Mira watched closely. Every move Ronan made was calculated. He did not panic or hesitate. He observed, adapted, and inspired others to act. Slowly, the soldiers gained courage. moving with confidence instead of fear. The Krithans sent a second wave, larger and more organized. Energy beams rained down and drones advanced in perfect coordination. Many soldiers struggled to hold their positions, but Ronan moved among them, coordinating attacks and pointing out weak spots in the enemy formation. "Use the terrain," he shouted. "Divide them. Don't fight them head-on. Protect each other," Zitharan soldiers responded. They used hills, trees, and abandoned structures as cover. Small units flanked the Krithans, striking quickly and then disappearing. The Krithans were surprised. They had expected a standard defense, but now they faced unpredictable tactics. Mira felt a surge of pride. Her soldiers were no longer merely relying on technology. They were thinking, acting, and fighting with courage. Ronan had taught them to combine their strengths with strategy and adaptability. Suddenly, a Krythan ship broke through the defenses, heading straight for the palace. Mira's heart raced. She knew the city's shields could hold for a moment, but the ship carried powerful weapons capable of serious damage. Ronan sprinted toward it. He moved faster than any human Mira had seen before, dodging beams and debris. Using a combination of skill and clever tactics, he climbed a ridge and jumped onto the ship's hull. He moved with balance and precision, avoiding the energy weapons. Mira watched in awe as Ronan disabled the ship's engines. The craft lost control and crashed harmlessly into the plains outside the city. Soldiers cheered at the sight. Humans were said to be legends, and now one had saved part of the city. The Krythans did not stop. They sent more ships and larger drones. The battle intensified, but Zitharan soldiers were no longer afraid. Ronan had shown them that courage, strategy, and teamwork could overcome even the most powerful enemies. Princess Mira stepped forward, leaving the palace balcony. She took a weapon from a soldier and joined the front lines. Her presence inspired others, and alongside Ronan she led a counterattack. Together they coordinated the defense, blending Zitharan technology with human strategy. For hours the battle raged. Energy beams cut across the sky. Explosions shook the ground, and the air was thick with dust and smoke. Yet, despite the chaos, the soldiers moved with focus. They followed Ronan's lead, protected each other, and fought with courage they had never known before. Finally, the Krithans began to retreat. Their ships withdrew into the sky, and the remaining drones fell one by one. Zithara had survived the attack. The plains were scarred and buildings needed repair, but the city stood strong. Mira walked through the battlefield, helping injured soldiers and checking on her people. She saw Zitharan soldiers smiling, exhausted but proud. They had learned something important that day. Courage, intelligence, and teamwork mattered as much as technology. She approached Ronan, who was tending to a small group of soldiers. "You were incredible," she said. "You changed the battle. You gave our soldiers confidence and hope." Ronan smiled. "I only did what humans have always done. We fight not just with strength, but with heart. We protect those who cannot protect themselves, and we inspire others to do the same." Mira nodded. She had seen it with her own eyes. Humans were not just stories or myths. They were real, and they possessed qualities that even the most advanced civilizations could learn from. General Theron came forward. "Princess, this human warrior is extraordinary. His tactics, courage, and leadership saved lives today. We would not have held the line without him." Mira looked at Ronan with respect. "You have shown me the truth. Humans are brave, clever, and remarkable. I doubted them, but now I understand. You're not just a legend, you're real." Ronan bowed slightly. "Thank you, Princess. But we still have work to do. The Kraythans will return, and next time the battle will be even more difficult." Mira's eyes shone with determination. "Then we will be ready. With you here and with our people united, we will protect Zithara. Together we can face any enemy." As the sun set, the battlefield quieted. The city stood strong, and the soldiers prepared for the next challenge. Mira realized that day that courage and intelligence were universal. Humans and Zitharans working together could achieve greatness. Ronan stood beside her, calm and confident. He had proven the legends true, and shown that one human could inspire an entire civilization. Mira knew that the story of humans was no longer just a tale. It was reality, and that reality would shape the future of Zithara. For the first time, she felt hope like never before. She had witnessed bravery, skill, and leadership that transcended worlds, and she knew that the days ahead, though challenging, could be faced with courage, wisdom, and unity. The morning sun bathed Zithara in a warm golden light. Princess Mira stood on the balcony of her palace overlooking the city. The damage from the Krythan attack had been repaired overnight, but the sense of urgency remained. The Krythans would return, stronger and more organized. Mira knew that this time, Zithara needed more than shields and weapons. They needed a plan, a strategy that combined technology and courage. Ronan was already at the training grounds with a group of elite soldiers. He moved among them, showing how to coordinate attacks, use the terrain, and protect one another. His instructions were precise and clear, yet simple enough for anyone to understand. Mira watched, impressed by how quickly the soldiers absorbed his teachings. "Your Highness," Loren said beside her. "It is remarkable. The soldiers are learning human tactics faster than we expected. They are adapting your technology to match his strategies." Mira nodded. "Ronan's way of thinking is different from ours. It is fast, flexible, and brave. If we combine it with our technology, we can create a defense the Krythans will not anticipate." Ronan approached Mira and bowed slightly. "Princess, if you wish, we can train a special unit to respond quickly to Krythan attacks. Small teams that move with precision, using both human tactics and Zitharan technology. They can strike before the enemy expects it." Mira's eyes brightened. "Yes, that is exactly what we need. We will not simply defend. We will take control of the battlefield." The next few hours were filled with planning. In the war room, holographic maps displayed the surrounding plains, the city, and the approaches the Krythans might use. Soldiers and advisors gathered around, listening as Mira and Ronan explained their strategy. Ronan pointed at the map. "The Krythans rely on large numbers and overwhelming power. We cannot match them in size, but we can match them in speed and intelligence. Small units will move quickly, using terrain and obstacles to our advantage. We will divide their forces and create confusion. Our goal is to protect the city while weakening their attacks." General Theron looked thoughtful. "It is risky. If our units are caught, they could be destroyed quickly. But if it works, it could change the course of this war." Mira nodded. "That is why we must train carefully. Every soldier must understand their role and trust their team. Fear will be our enemy, not the Krythans," Ronan added, "and we must inspire them. Humans fight not only with skill but with heart. Soldiers must believe in themselves and in each other. That belief can turn the tide of any battle." The training began immediately. Soldiers practiced maneuvers, moving through forests, hills, and small structures built to simulate Krythan attacks. Ronan showed them how to coordinate silently, using signals, movement, and quick thinking to respond to threats. Mira joined in, demonstrating leadership and bravery alongside the soldiers. She quickly discovered that her presence inspired the troops. Seeing their princess fight and lead motivated them to act with courage and confidence. They began to move not as individuals but as a unit, thinking, reacting, and supporting one another. Ronan watched carefully. "Good. They are learning faster than expected. But they must also understand that no plan survives without flexibility. The Krythans will adapt. We must adapt faster," Mira agreed. "Then we will continue to practice to anticipate every possibility. This time we will be ready for anything." As the day passed, reports came from scouts. Krythan ships were gathering at a nearby asteroid field. They were preparing a full-scale assault, larger than the previous attack. The threat was imminent. Mira felt a mixture of determination and tension. She knew that the battle would test everything she and Ronan had prepared. That evening, Mira called a meeting with the soldiers. "Tomorrow the Krythans will attack," she said. "We have trained, planned, and prepared. We have a strategy that combines human courage and Zitharan technology. Remember what you have learned. Trust your team. Protect each other. And above all, be brave." Ronan stepped forward. "Fear is natural, but courage is stronger. Humans face danger every day, and we survive because we think, adapt, and protect each other. You can do the same. Together we are stronger than any enemy." The soldiers nodded, their eyes shining with determination. Mira felt hope swell in her chest. She had seen the power of courage and intelligence combined, and she knew that Zithara could withstand the Krythan assault. The next morning, the sky darkened with Krythan ships. Hundreds of fighters moved in perfect formation, their weapons glowing. The city's shields flared to life, absorbing the initial attacks, but the Krythans pressed forward relentlessly. Mira stood on the palace balcony, observing the battlefield. She could see soldiers moving into position, small units guided by Ronan's strategy. Drones and ships clashed in the distance, but the soldiers moved with coordination and courage. They were no longer simply defending. They were controlling the battlefield. Ronan moved through the front lines, calm and confident. He directed soldiers, adjusted positions, and acted as a center of focus. Zitharan soldiers, inspired by his bravery, followed his instructions without hesitation. The Crithans were strong, but they were not prepared for tactics they could not predict. Small units flanked enemy drones, using hills and terrain to gain advantage. Zitharan soldiers disabled key Crythan machinery, while others created traps that forced the enemy into vulnerable positions. Every move was precise, calculated, and effective. Mira realized that the combination of human strategy and Zitharan technology was more powerful than she had imagined. The Crythans could no longer rely on numbers alone. They faced an enemy that moved quickly, adapted to attacks, and acted with courage. At one point, a Crythan ship broke through the outer defenses, heading straight for the palace. Mira's heart raced, but before she could react, Ronan had already anticipated the threat. He coordinated a rapid response, directing small units to intercept the ship while using terrain and energy pulses to disable its weapons. The ship crashed harmlessly outside the city. The soldiers cheered, and Mira felt a surge of pride. She had doubted humans, but now she understood the truth. Courage, intelligence, and teamwork could match any power, even the most advanced Crythan technology. The battle continued for hours. Zitharan units moved with precision, anticipating enemy moves and striking with confidence. Ronan acted as a guide, not a commander, showing soldiers how to think and react. His presence inspired them to act with bravery and skill, turning fear into determination. Mira joined the front lines, fighting alongside her soldiers. She used her knowledge of technology and strategy, but also relied on courage and quick thinking. Together with Ronan, they led attacks, protected soldiers, and countered Crythan maneuvers. By late afternoon, the Crythans began to retreat. Their ships withdrew into the sky, leaving behind a battlefield full of disabled drones and machinery. Zithara had survived, stronger and wiser. Princess Mira walked among her soldiers, helping the wounded and praising their efforts. "You have fought with courage and intelligence," she said. "You have shown that technology alone is not enough. Unity, bravery, and quick thinking matter just as much." Ronan approached her. "Your soldiers fought well because they trusted themselves and each other. Courage spreads. Leadership inspires. That is how humans succeed, and now Zithara has learned it too." Mira smiled. "And I have learned too. Humans are not stories or myths. They are real. And their courage can teach even the most advanced civilizations how to face danger with strength and heart." General Theron nodded. "Princess, this victory was not only because of technology. It was because of strategy, bravery, and unity. Ronan has changed the way we see battle. Zithara is stronger because of him." Mira looked at Ronan, her respect evident. "You have shown me the truth. Courage and intelligence are universal. Humans and Zitharans together can achieve greatness, and together we will protect our planet." As the sun set, Zithara stood tall and strong. The soldiers rested, but their minds were alert. The Crythans would return, but now Zithara was ready. With courage, strategy, and unity, they could face any threat. Ronan stood beside Mira, calm and confident. He had trained the soldiers, proven the strength of human tactics, and inspired a civilization. Mira knew that the Crythans' next attack would be even more dangerous, but she also knew that they would face it together, stronger than ever. For the first time, Princess Mira felt complete confidence. The legends of humans were true, and one human warrior had changed the future of her planet. Together, humans and Zitharans would protect their world and prove that courage and intelligence could overcome any enemy. The morning sky over Zithara was tense and heavy with anticipation. Princess Mira stood on the palace balcony, looking toward the plains where the Crythan fleet was gathering. Hundreds of ships, larger and more menacing than ever before, glinted under the sunlight. Their weapons glowed like fire, and the air seemed charged with energy. The final battle had arrived. Mira turned to Ronan, who was inspecting the soldiers and preparing them for action. His calm demeanor and confident stance inspired everyone around him. Despite the size and strength of the Crythan forces, there was a sense of hope among the soldiers that had not existed before. Ronan had changed them. "Today," Mira said, her voice steady, "we fight not only for our city but for our people. We fight for our home. Trust your training. Trust each other. And trust yourselves." Ronan stepped forward, placing a hand on her shoulder. Your Highness, fear is natural, but courage is stronger. Remember what we practiced. Move as one. Protect each other. Strike where the enemy is weakest. Humans fight with heart and mind together. We will do the same here. The soldiers nodded, their faces determined. Mira felt pride and confidence in them. She had seen bravery before, but now she saw something greater. A unity that combined skill, intelligence, and courage. Zithra was ready. The Krithan fleet descended in waves, energy beams flashing across the sky. Drones and ships moved with perfect coordination, aiming to overwhelm the city's defenses. The shields flared as energy strikes hit them, and the sound of impacts echoed across the plains. Ronan moved quickly among the front lines. He directed small units, signaling them to flank the enemy, use terrain, and protect each other. He moved as a guide, not a commander, showing how to act with courage and intelligence in the face of danger. Mira joined the front lines. She carried a pulse weapon and moved among the soldiers, encouraging them and coordinating attacks. Her presence gave the troops confidence. Seeing their princess fight alongside them inspired them to act with bravery and precision. The Krethans sent their first wave toward the city gates. Zithran soldiers, guided by Ronan's strategy, used hills, forests, and small structures for cover. Small units struck quickly, disabled enemy drones, and disappeared before the Krethans could respond. The attackers were confused, unable to anticipate the human tactics combined with Zithran technology. A group of Krithan ships tried to attack from the sky. Ronan leaped onto a ridge, taking position to counter them. Using his agility and sharp observation, he disabled 2 ships, sending them crashing harmlessly outside the city. Soldiers around him cheered, their morale soaring. Mira observed the battle carefully. Every move of Ronan inspired not only the soldiers, but also her. She realized that courage was contagious. Bravery, strategy, and leadership could turn even the most difficult battle. The Krithans regrouped for a second assault. Their ships moved faster and fired more energy beams. The city shields struggled under the pressure. Mira's heart raced, but she kept her focus. She signaled soldiers to reinforce weak points, coordinate attacks, and protect civilians. Ronan ran across the battlefield, directing units and moving to where he was needed most. He coordinated attacks, protected the injured, and disabled enemy ships using clever tactics. Every action was precise, purposeful, and effective. Zithran soldiers followed his lead, adapting quickly to his strategies. Suddenly, a massive Krithan flagship broke through the outer defenses, heading straight for the palace. Mira felt a surge of fear, but she did not hesitate. She ran alongside Ronan toward the flagship. Soldiers rallied behind them, inspired by their courage. Ronan analyzed the flagship carefully. Its weapons were powerful, and a direct attack could be fatal. He turned to Mira. We must use speed and strategy. We cannot attack directly. Small units will move from the sides while we create a distraction. Stay close to me. Mira nodded. She trusted Ronan completely. Together, they coordinated the plan. Units moved quickly, flanking the flagship while others created diversions. Energy beams flashed, explosions shook the ground, and debris scattered across the battlefield. Ronan and Mira moved with precision. Using agility and clever timing, they reached the flagship. Mira fired at key points, weakening the shields, while Ronan disabled the main engine. The ship lost control, spiraling into the plains outside the city. Soldiers cheered loudly. The flagship was destroyed without harming Zithra. The Krithans were stunned. Their attacks had been countered at every turn. Small units struck their drones, flanked their ships, and disabled weapons. Zithran soldiers, inspired by human tactics and their princess's bravery, moved with confidence and precision. Mira felt pride in her people. They had learned quickly, adapted, and fought with courage. The battle was not won by technology alone, but by intelligence, teamwork, and heart. Ronan had shown them the power of courage and strategy combined. As the Krithans began to retreat, their forces weakened and confused. Mira and Ronan led a final coordinated strike. Soldiers moved in perfect unity, striking quickly and efficiently. The Krithans fled into the sky, leaving the battlefield quiet except for the cheers of victory. Mira walked through the battlefield, helping the wounded and praising her soldiers. "You have fought bravely," she said. "You have shown courage, intelligence, and unity. Today, we have proven that our strength is more than just technology. It is the heart and mind of our people." Ronan approached her, calm and confident. Your Highness, today Zithera has shown what humans and Zitherans together can achieve. Courage, intelligence, and teamwork can overcome any enemy. Mira smiled. She felt a deep respect for Ronan and gratitude for his guidance. You have proven the legends true. Humans are brave, clever, and inspiring. Your presence has changed the course of this battle and the future of Zithera. General Theron came forward, nodding. Princess Ronan's tactics and leadership saved lives and inspired our soldiers. Zithera owes its victory to his guidance. We have learned much from him today. Mira turned to Ronan. Your bravery and wisdom have taught us the value of courage and intelligence combined. Zithera will remember this day, and we will remember you as a hero who came from a distant world to protect ours. Ronan bowed slightly. It was an honor to fight alongside your people, Princess. Courage is universal. Humans and Zitherans together can face any challenge. Today we have proven that. The sun set over Zithera, casting warm light over the victorious city. Soldiers celebrated, repairing damage and sharing stories of the battle. Mira stood beside Ronan, looking out over the plains and the city that now felt safer because of their combined courage. For the first time, she felt complete trust and admiration for humans. The legends were real, and one human warrior had inspired an entire civilization. Courage, intelligence, and leadership had turned the tide of battle, showing that even the most advanced enemies could be defeated with unity and heart. Mira turned to Ronan, her eyes shining. The Krathens will return someday, but we are ready. Together, humans and Zitherans will protect this world. Your courage has changed everything, Ronan smiled, and your leadership has shown that technology, wisdom, and courage together are unstoppable. We fight best when we fight together. As night fell, Zithera stood tall and strong. The city was safe, the soldiers proud, and the people inspired. The battle had tested them, but it had also united them. Humans and Zitherans had fought side by side, proving that courage and intelligence could overcome any obstacle. Princess Mira looked at the stars above, feeling hope and determination. She had witnessed bravery, strategy, and leadership that transcended worlds. Humans were not myths. They were real, and they could inspire even the most advanced civilizations. Ronan stood beside her, calm and ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. Together they had defended Zithera, inspired its people, and shown that courage was stronger than fear, intelligence stronger than chaos, and unity stronger than any enemy. And for the first time, Princess Mira truly believed in the legends of human warriors.